Hello, today I am going to introduce a few tips which should be useful upon your arrival in Japan using working holiday visa. Now since I am having a working holiday now, this video is intended for those who come using a working holiday visa, but parts of my tips should be useful for student visa and working visa as well. So, before we begin, let me have a brief self-introduction. I am a Hong Konger. My name is Jack. I come here using working holiday visa because I like Japan since middle school and my love towards Japan hasn't changed too much. There are many opinions, positive and negative about Japan, so I have decided to come here and experience it myself. You can't come to Japan with you empty hand. You should bring enough cash which is enough to use for 2 to 4 weeks. You might need to settle the rent for first 2 months and it is not advised to rely on credit card. You can bring up to 1 million Japanese yen to Japan. Of course, you need to bring a credit card with you as well. A SIM card would keep you always connected in Japan. Without it you will have hard time navigating. Not to mention your passport is a must-have in Japan. I don't know if it is a must, but when you enter Japan, please tell the officer which type of visa would you like to use to enter Japan to prevent entering Japan using travel visa. You are also recommended to bring a stamp with you. Please make a stamp in your origin country because it can make your days in Japan slightly easier. Finally, if you have friends or relatives in Japan, thing would be easier in all means. Now, let's grab our time to the real deal. I will tell you which procedure should you take first and explain all of them one by one. Now, I am not saying that my workflow is the best one, but it works for me. I should have done more preparation before my arrival, but now I am here, and I wish my experience can be useful to all of you coming to Japan. Take a look of my slide, and I will explain the first part to you, arriving in Japan. First, let's talk about arriving in Japan. You might wonder, hey Jack, what's so important about this information? Of course I know I need to take a plane to enter Japan. Maybe, and I guess before deciding to go to Japan, most applicants, regardless of working holiday visa holder, student visa holder or working visa holder, usually have experience of traveling in Japan, right? We travel to Japan and we like about Japan, then we decided to move to Japan. Well, yes, but if you are coming as a visitors, you can land on every international airport you want, but now, as a middle to long-term resident, you need to get this shiny card called the Zairyu card, namely the resident card. This tiny card seems cool, right? Well, it's cool at first glance, but it will give you headache for days or weeks. And you will need to arrive in the designated airports to get this shiny card. Take a look on what Wise teach us. Wise is a very useful organization for transferring money. I will explain more about Wise when we talk about creating a bank account, but now you can see this is a thing like Zairyu card, the resident card for foreigner residing in Japan. So, it clearly state here that Zairyu card is only available in Narita, Haneda, Kansai, or Chubu airports. Without this card, you can't move on to the next procedure. So if you don't wish to delay your whole plan, you would like to land on these popular airports because they would give you the resident card on spot, making the whole workflow of staying Japan more smooth. Some of you might want to work or study in some rural area of Japan to save money. Well, that's a good plan, but still you should land on these international airport to prevent delay. If you do land in airports outside the airports I provided, no worry, Japan wouldn't kick you out yet. You would have to apply card in the designated city hall, the yakusho, and they would send you the card to you. I haven't gone through this procedure before, so there is no information I can give you if you enter Japan in that way. But still, it is not the end of the world, and yet it would certainly be more time consuming. Now, if nothing gone wrong, you should have your residence card on your hand. Remember I said this card can give you headache for days and weeks? I will tell you why. Under the request from the Japanese government, middle to long-term residents need to register their address on the backside of the residence card within 14 days, otherwise you might jeopardize your right to stay in Japan. Moreover, without an address on the backside of the residence card, you are pretty much unable to do anything like making telephone number and making bank account. For students and workers, I think either your school or your company should have prepared a place for you to live, so you can skip this section. I will talk about address registration in the next part. So, to register your home address on the card legally, you need to have a home address. Don't panic, let's move on to choosing the house that should best fit your stay in Japan. I try to make it more enjoyable to watch, so look at this realistic city planning game. while listening to my explanation, so I don't if you have even live alone in your origin country or not. In Hong Kong, the rent is unaffordable for most people, so I live with my parents. I had no idea what standard should I measure to decide a good place to live, and time was running short. When I asked opinion from my Japanese friends, they asked me which train line do I prefer. If you come as a working holiday visa holder, it is understandable that this question can be confusing because all train lines seem to be fine to us. The fundamental reason why this question is confusing is that working holiday visa holder often come unemployed. Some might have a better idea of where to live because they decide to go to Japanese language school. And that brings us to the answer. What is your purpose to stay in Japan? So definitely, it is usually a better idea to live close to a station. It is a give and take situation because apartment near station are usually more expensive. Also, if you live too close to the train station, you would have to withstand the noise of trains. Living in an apartment close to subway station won't have such disadvantage, but in most cases, the fee of subway is slightly more expensive than the one of train. Needless to say, if you come here to work, you should choose an apartment which is connected to the train line between your home and your company. If you are like me, a typical working holiday holders who like to find job in Japan, you should choose a train line which is connected to those tourist area, like Shinjuku, Ueno. Since the travel industry of Japan is blooming recently, there are many job vacancy in those area. Also, you yourself can travel across Japan easily if your apartment is connected to station like Shinjuku or Tokyo, because you can go to the airport or Shinkansen station easily. You might want to live near to tourist area as well, but then keep in mind that if you live in area which are popular to tourist, every day you go to work, you would need to take the same train with the tourist, so it would always be crowded. If an event take place in those area like Taylor Swift coming to Nippon Budokan or Messi coming to Tokyo Dome, expect to get home late that day. Just now I recommended the geographic location for your stay in Japan. After you have decided where to stay, you should decide which type of house do you want to stay. There are 3 types of house in urban area of Japan. They are house, share house and mansion. First, I would like to talk about an individual house. As of 2024, the rent for an individual house is about 100,000 Japanese yen per month. This should be cheaper than the rent in Hong Kong or London. Those houses are usually smaller and in case of any event, you would have to handle it by yourself. So if you value your privacy highly, a house is something you would look for. Secondly, there is share house, also known as guest house. Share house should be popular in England and Australia as well. So, in the other way around, the management company can be helpful when something gone wrong and share house are usually slightly cheaper. Of course, that's mean you would have to live with stranger. While it is a good way to make friends, some people might found it inconvenient to live with strangers. In addition to that, you either live with both man and woman together, or if you are a lady, you can live in a lady-only share house. Finally, there is mansion. Mansion is not recommended for working holiday visa holder. The rent is not the major problem. For mansion, the owner usually requests tenant to rent their mansion for 2 years. Since working holiday visa lasts for 1 year only, owner would refuse to rent their mansion to working holiday visa holder. If you work in Japan, then mansion is usually affordable and comfortable. It depends on your choice, of course. I didn't mention dormitory, which is available for students visa holders. For student, please check it yourself. At this point, you should have decided the right house to live. It is recommended for you to make a stamp for signing contract with the real estate agent. Nowadays, it is not a must to have a stamp to sign the contract, but in some traditional Japanese companies and banks, stamp is still necessary, so please prepare one before arrival or on the first few days in Japan. If you are all set, we can finally proceed to the first checkpoint of your stay in Japan, home address registration. Also, some real estate agency company might require you to provide an emergency contact. If you don't have friends or relatives in Japan, you might need to seek help from guarantee company. Good news. Home address registration is not difficult at all. Since many people are moving to Japan, there are many staff standing in place, willing to assist you. There are Chinese, English and Korean guideline for you as well, so you shouldn't have a problem filling the application form. Just find the right place and the staff will help you to put your home address on the backside of the residence card. Once you have signed the contract, you can go to the city hall before moving into the apartment. Also, you don't want to go there on Saturday or Sunday or public holiday or after working hour, so please be careful. I relied on Google Map to search for City Hall, namely the Yakusho. You need to go to the Yakusho of your district. If you decided to rent a house in Shinjuku, you should go to Shinjuku District City Hall. You can go to the City Hall of another district like Minato-ku to register the home address. Also, you are recommended to go to Yakusho instead of branch of Yakusho, the Shikaujo. The branch might or might not be able to register your home address, so to play safe, please go to U District City Hall, Kuyakusho. Keyword Kuyakusho. At the same time, please tell the staff that you would like to make the My Number registration as well. With My Number you can have easier time when seeking job and using some financial services. Also, you should make your national security insurance card as well. Good news. Making telephone number is perhaps the easiest procedure in this video. Just bring your residence card and credit card with you and visit any big camera building is okay. Please go to the floor which sells SIM card. There are many telecommunication company and the Ijmio operated by Big Camera is just one of the telecommunication providing such a service. You can do more research on your own to compare with company is cheaper or have better service by yourself. However, if you are lazy like me you can just go to any Big Camera building to make your phone number. Also, there are many foreigner staff, so language barriers should be minimal. Finally, after all these hard work, you can finally proceed to create your bank account. Please bring your stamp with you if you have made one. For telecommunications company, you have many choices, but for bank account, you have one choice only, the Yacho Bank, namely the Post Office Bank. You might see many other banks in Japan, but due to the Prevent Money Laundering Act, foreigner must arrive Japan after 6 months to create an account there. Only Yacho Bank allows newly arrived foreigner to create bank account. This time, you must create your account at the closest post office near your home. Beware, because this is also the procedure which would test your Japanese proficiency. Unlike the city hall or telecommunication company, the staff of Japanese post office usually compose of local Japanese. If you decided to live in somewhere far away from the center of Tokyo, it would be even harder to see a staff who can speak conversational English. So prepare yourself. You would need to prepare the application form before you go to the post office. Luckily, on the website of Japanese post office, you can see they have prepare application form in different languages. So filling this form shouldn't be a big problem yet. However, if you don't have a job yet in Japan, try to type something like working holiday and fill in your home address in the form. Otherwise, you cannot proceed to create the form and thereby cannot create a bank account. Staff in the post office can do the amendment for you so that you can create an account without a job. You can actually do everything on the apps, but if you are using an iPhone, you must change your region to Japan and you must have a job to create an account using the apps because you must fill in your job information. After everything is done, the staff should pass you a passbook. You can withdraw money using your passbook, no need to wait for the bank card which the post office would send to you later. Last but not least, no one want an empty bank account. Before I came I thought I needed to do the traditional interbank money transfer. As you can imagine, banks would take this chance to earn handling fee from you. Fortunately, I found Wise. Although Wise charges handling fee as well, since it involves fewer financial institutions, they manage to minimize the handling fee. Since you need to have your phone number and your bank account to create a Wise account, I leave this important information at the end of the video. If you can use the link which I would provide below, you can enjoy their promotion offer to transfer your first 75,000 Japanese yen to your bank account without charges, so it would be very much appreciated if you can use the link to create the account. You made this. If you have done everything correctly, you are all set. I went to Fukuoka and Osaka after I finished everything. So, is it difficult? If you ask me, it is not too difficult, but you need to do time management and be decisive. At the end of this video, I would like to say thank you for watching. Whatever reason brings you to Japan, it is a good experience. For me, it is my first time to live abroad. Is Japanese language necessary in the whole procedure? I would say no, you can do everything without speaking Japanese, even creating the bank account. However, since you are moving to Japan, speaking the local language would definitely make your life easier. You probably would like to make friends with the locals and to find a decent job in Japan, so learning Japanese language would be essential in the long run, but not for the procedures I just introduced to you. Anyway, once again thank you for watching my first video and please enjoy your time in Japan. See you next time.